Hey everyone, how you doing today? It's Rick here from Rock Island, Illinois. Just want to have a little conversation for a short time about an old show that I loved. If you're an old timer like me, it was called Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, and it aired in two seasons from 1979 through 1981. The first season had 24 episodes. It was a full season. Second season got cut short at 13 episodes, and then it never played again. 37 total episodes, and I want to talk a little bit about it. Seasons 1 and 2. I've seen a lot of things on lately on YouTube about this show. Now, it was very popular when it came out. And there was three different two-hour episodes in the first season to include the pilot, and there was two in the second season, the first two. The pilot was actually a movie, and it was a little bit different when it was made, when it went to the TV series. They changed a few things on it, but it was pretty darn good. I thought it was interesting. Now, it started off with the big blast. People actually liked it in 1979, the first season for the most part. Then it kind of dropped off in the second season, and surprisingly, it cut short. And the last episode is not the last episode. It's a standalone episode, and it just ends. Different reasons. Now, a lot of people think that Buck Rogers, if you're a fan of this show and you listen to this, was totally because the second season was a bust, and that's why it went under. Well, partly was because the second season took a different direction, which I personally like. Some people do, and most people don't. I'm going to talk to you why I like the second season, actually more than the first. But that wasn't the only reason. There was a strike going on near the end of the first season, and some of the actors went on that, or were going to go on strike. And there was not even possibly going to even be a second season because of financial reasons. Then it went to the second season. It was starting to get placed at different times every week, which an interview actor who played Buck Rogers said. He goes, it was not at the same time all the time, so people were inconsistently being able to see it or missing it, and different various reasons. It ended after the 13th episode in April of 1981. Now, the premise for you that forgot some Buck Rogers, basically what it is it was fun. It was not fun for its time. It was very innocent. And season one was very different approach than season two. I like the changes, but a lot of people don't, and they attribute that is that's what turned a lot of people off, and I really don't know why. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. If you're a fan of this show, it actually has made a rekindling. It's on MeTV on Saturday nights, and it's actually got a lot of reruns over the years. It's got a cult following, sort of like Battlestar Galactica, which came afterwards. Things like that. It's old shows. I really enjoyed it. It was innocent fun. There wasn't any real. There was violence, but I mean, not bloody violence or anything like that. It was of the time. I like older shows. Like I said, I'm 56 years old. That was a big thing. I was a teenager in high school years during that time. The premise of Buck Rogers, of course, it was from an old serial from a long time ago, is that he gets suspended in animation for 500 years. A mistake happens, and he's suspended, and he wakes up 500 years later. He doesn't know it first. And, of course, the Earth has been destroyed by a nuclear war. And so the Earth now is, even though there's advancement in technologies, a lot of things that are not good about the Earth. The first episode shows it a lot. There's a lot of the Earth is ugly looking. It's taken a long time for them to try to get back. And so he's based out of Chicago. They call it New Chicago. There's a New York, and everything else is a new whatever. And it's basically the first season, him trying to defend Earth, specifically from a group called the Draconians, who are trying to take over the Earth. And they're kind of like the bad boys of the galaxy. And the whole thing's about defending Earth for the most part in the first season. I actually thought that it get kind of redundant. There were some very good episodes like Space Vampires and a few others there, but I thought it got redundant. The first episode, the first season, I mean, is essentially centered on Buck Rogers as a person. And I think it could I didn't care for it as much. There was discos in it, space discos. Of course, it was disco at the end of the disco era. Casinos. They brought in a lot of old name actors. at the time to try to promote the series. Jack Palance, if you remember, he was in that. A number of different actors at that time. Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler in the old Batman series. People, different episodes. Try to obviously pump the series. But the big thing was that every week it seemed like Buck had to save something, or something had to do with a girl in distress, scantily cladded, beautiful, and that girl always seemed to like Buck. He always seemed to have. He never really had a girlfriend in this Buck Rogers series, but girls liked him because he was Gil Gerard, I believe the name of the actor was. He was a decent looking man. He even had one way, everything was about him. He had to strip his top off because he was doing like an auction where he was being bought and bought, and he commanded the most money because the girls really liked him. And of course they had his colonel, her name was Wilma Deering in the show, and she's only like 29 years old at the time. Pretty young to be a colonel. I'm in the military, so that's pretty darn young. And she was there for eye candy, and she was dressed like a disco type era with tight stuff. And she was a very pretty lady. But I mean, in the first one, he has like an unspoken love interest between the two of them. On top of that, and of course, there's the draconian princess, okay, who shows up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 episodes. The one at the very end is called Flight of the War, which the first pilot, which is 2 hours apiece each one, and one in between, so 6 episodes. She's in this episode, and she's a pretty girl too. And even though she's always trying to take over the world, the Earth, but she always uses a Buck as a bait. She always wants Buck to be her spouse. Even one episode, she has his weapon, threatens to blow up the Earth, but the deal is if they let Buck try to fight to be her husband, she'll spare the Earth, and he always winds up finding a way to thwart it. At first, it seems like he's going to do it, but he always has a plan. And even though I think her name was Pamela Hennessy or something like that, she was the Draconian princess. She was a pretty girl. And even though he thwarts her and he kind of destroys her plans, she still always likes him. Basically, the first season, it had some good episodes and some, but it was him being showcased, the handsome Buck, girls liked him. And that, to me, people seem to like that. Now, the second season was totally different. What they do is they take it, and they took him and Wilmer only, and of course he has this little robot friend kind of helper called Twiggy, which I don't really know what Twiggy actually ever did for him, but it was just a nice little thing to have, and he was cute and that type of stuff. So those three go on this space ship called the Searcher to go look for the lost tribes of Earth. So it becomes more like a Star Trek type thing, which I thought was excellent. The number 2 got away. They had this character called Hawk. The first pilot for season 2, a 2-hour series, The Time of Hawk, was this Birdman character who, very, very good character. I think he was one of my most favorite characters in sci-fi. I wish they had done more with it and kept it up. He was of high integrity. He starts out to be like a villain, but you find out he's not because Earthmen killed the rest of his tribe, and he's very mad. He thinks all people on Earth are bad. So he goes on a killing spree of Earth people. Buck is sent to take him in to basically put him in trial and kill him, assassinate him. But they wind up being, it's a twist because Hawk's wife gets hurt and Buck is trying to help him save her. She dies anyways, and they bring him in. He winds up, a deal is made. Buck makes a deal with the court to have Hawk work with them versus putting him to death, and he does. He winds up staying for the rest of the second season. That was an excellent 2-part series. I think it was better than the original for season 1, called Time of Hawk. Now, season 2 did not. It was nothing like season 1. There was no romantic stuff. There was no scantily clad women every week. It was much more serious. And even Buck's so-called possible relation with Wilmer is kind of downplayed in season 2 because in the second episode, she actually sees an ex-lover. He's an older guy. He played in Star Trek. He can take his head off. It's strange. He can remove his head. But anyways, he's an ambassador, and she actually has feelings for him. She tells Buck to stay back. So Buck's love interest baloney that was in number one is totally gone. Every episode is totally different on different planets. They even have one episode where everybody that's on the ship, and of course the people are different. They have a different doctor, different commander. Of course, they're going to be in a different ship. All of them seem to be like alter egos evil, much like Mirror Mirror from Star Trek. But the bottom line is that was all gone. Instead, Buck's dependency on Hawk helping him replaces all these love interests that he had in the first one. I thought it was excellent. I don't know why people didn't like it. I mean, they want to see scantily clad women all the time and him being pined over. I thought it was excellent. It was different way. The only thing is, if they'd been able to have Hawk, they never ended with Hawk because they stopped at series 13. I would have liked to see what happened for that. But that's my talk for the day on Buck Rogers in 25th Century. Tell me what you think about the series. I loved it. You know, it's on MeTV. I look at it now, brings back great memories. Tell me what you think. This is Rick here from Illinois. Have a great day.